Hi everyone, and welcome to another Griniflix Adventure 8 video. Today we're going to be talking about the Voigtlander 15mm f4.5 lens. How I came about this lens was I was looking for an alternative for some landscape and for astrophotography at night, and I wanted something that would fit my Leica camera, both my Leica film camera as well as my Leica digital M240. So the Voigtlander 15mm is quite an inexpensive option. Now, what I did find is in looking at online stores, eBay, etc., Amazon, that the Voigtlander 15mm f4.5 can be purchased secondhand for around $500 Australian dollars. And then if you want the extra viewfinder, that was an extra $150 or $200 depending on some situations. The other choice is to try and get the lens and the viewfinder with the Voigtlander Bessa-L body all thrown in as a package, and that was around $650 or $700 Australian. So I decided to go for that combination. Now the advantage of that is that then you can take this lens here, the 15mm lens, and get an adapter. So this is a screw thread. You can get an M mount adapter to actually put it onto your Leica as well. Now, what's so special about this little lens is that it's small. What are my options? So I can put the Tokina on, and you can see the difference in size. Take the mount off, and then by the time you put an adapter on there so it can fit a Leica, we're looking at that much difference in size. That's huge, isn't it? And then if I look at the Nikon, the 14-24, that's the difference in size. It's huge. So now obviously there may be, I'm sure there is a difference in quality as well, and that's part of the test that I'll do later on. I did take some shots with this and the film camera using 200 ISO film, and good news and bad news. Yes, I got some results. I used a professional photo lab, Rewind Photo Labs in Sydney, to actually develop the photographs. So I've got the colour negs, and I got them to scan it as well into JPEGs. So I'll be able to show those, and we'll go into Lightroom shortly and have a look. And there's the proof set. What I did notice with my first roll of film is that the last 6 or 7, actually probably last 4 or 5 frames, the winding mechanism on this stuffed up. And I was trying to work out what the situation is. After doing some investigation, I found that with this particular body, this winder here, this camera here will probably pick it up, there's not enough resistance here. So normally there is some sort of a bearing in there that locks and unlocks. So as this mechanism rolls forward, it turns the spool there. But then when you rewind, it's got to actually turn against to unroll the film there. So it's got to twist on the shaft here. But if there's not enough resistance, is when you're winding this on, this doesn't actually wind on properly, and the whole film just ends up expanding and locking the whole area here. And then these teeth can't move the film forward. Anyway, it's a complicated explanation, but that's what seems to be the problem there. So good chances are that unless I can repair that and put more resistance on that spool, wind-up spool, I may never use this body for film, but I want to use the lens on my Leica cameras and also on my Nikon camera, my Z6, and possibly the others. I'm getting an adapter for the f-mount lenses as well, so we can try that out on the f-mount lenses. It should be interesting. But let's go have a look at the photographs in Lightroom and have a look at these proof set in a bit more detail. Here we are in Lightroom. So the original photograph was taken on ISO 200 color film, Kodak film. Then the photo processing lab produced negatives, obviously, and then scanned those negatives at 6 megabytes of file. So not the hugest of files. And then all I've done is in Lightroom did a little bit of correction here and there, but not much, and then just exported that also, and reducing the file size again to about 2 megabytes. So we're not really pixel peeping here, or we're looking at just the general photograph. So there's a bit of camera shake, I think. When we zoom in here, you can see in the writing here, there's a blurred double image, so that would definitely be camera shake. Also zooming in, we can see the grain of the film. So just a characteristic of the film, but so again, we won't look too much into that. The other things, as we notice, the light intensity does drop off towards the corners. Can't really tell so much here. I guess if you need a plain background for that. You do notice it here more so in the corners where it gets darker, but again, because of the silhouette and the sunset here, it's probably not a good example of that. But I guess if we just look at the angle of view, and it produces quite a good angle of view, a reasonable amount of clarity. We can't really compare the lens right now. We have to do that later on in another video, compare lenses when I get the appropriate mount. So I put the screw thread mount of the 15mm Voigtlander onto either the Leica, digital Leica M240, or one of my Nikon cameras, the Z6, or the F-mounted camera bodies. So black and white and color. A reasonable image, I think, for the 15mm lens. Again, we're shooting film here, so we can't really compare the details too much at this stage, but again, black and white versus color. Black and white, I've done a bit more editing here in Lightroom to increase the contrast between the blacks and the whites. Just straighten this photo up compared to the color one. But here we've got a fairly straightforward shot. I'm not sure what f-stop I'm using, but I suspect I'm probably around the f8 mark. And the light's pretty even across, the exposure is pretty even across the whole lens there. You do notice a little bit of distortion, as you would expect. I haven't done any correction as far as distortion is concerned for the lens. Again, color black and white. And then as we progress towards the end of the film, this is where the film started to jam up inside the camera body. And because of the film was jammed up, the emulsion starts to rub against the film as you try and wind on, and any dust that's in the back in the camera obviously then starts to scratch, or I'm not sure whether it's dust or whether it's part of the casing itself within the camera body that's scratching the film here. And then once it jams up even further, then the teeth start to miss and can't move the film forward, and you start getting double, triple exposures. So there you go. Other than the film jamming up, the camera was fun to use. It has no viewfinder. That's the reason for the external viewfinder sitting on the hot shoe for this particular lens, a 15mm lens. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to actually using this lens on my Leica as well as on my Nikon cameras, and seeing what sort of results I get compared to something like this fantastic Nikon 14 to 24. It is a 14 yet. 14 24 millimeter f2.8. So the 4.5 15 mil versus a 14 mil 2.8. And we can also compare it to the Tokina. So that will be on another video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. There's a real benefit in having small lenses for travel. Less weight, fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting some more travel stuff out there with adventure tours. Anyway, so do subscribe. Love your comments. What sort of wide angle small compact lenses are you using for your photography? Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.